When the game was released, I thought to myself, well, it's gonna die pretty soon, so I'm not even gonna bother buying this game. And time went on and it pretty much survived a long time, to be honest. All my friends got the game and told me, hey, it's not gonna die, it's a pretty fun, it's a mix of Starship Troopers and Terminator. And since I really love Terminator, and I'm not even into Starship Troopers that much, it's cool and all, but Terminator is more my thing. I thought to myself, well, it's gonna be really fun, and since my friends are still playing to this day, I might as well buy it. Well, I wish I could say the last part of my friends are still playing to this day, but unfortunately that's not true. I played for around 31 hours, my friends played for way more, like 100 or 200 maybe. I don't even know if there were any friends of mine that got to 200 hours, but the only thing that I can say is that after 12 hours playing this game, it got pretty repetitive. It's always the same shit. Yeah, missions are cool, the community is really dope, it was really dope as well when it started, but now some people consider the game to be slowly bleeding out. This is my honest review on Helldivers, and true, I know that many people are still in love with this game, but it's just not the case for me since I have a love-hate relationship with it. And I know that usually I say this at the end of the video, but bear with me because I'm gonna explain to you guys why I don't love this game anymore the way I did before. And if I sound a little bit off and nasalized, it's because I'm sick, but I kind of want to record this since I'm on vacation now. School recess on university, at my university. You guys understand, but I'm kind of sick, so yeah, forgive me. Alright, let's get back to the video. For starters, I have to say that the lore of this game is pretty deep. If you play the first game and if you really follow the notes and things that are written on the mission, if you listen to what characters are saying as well, you're gonna have a blast exploring the universe of Helldivers. If you search things on the internet, if you watch a video or two, you're gonna think it's amazing. The lore is really good. You're gonna commit the high treason and say, well, we're actually the bad guys. And by the way, Ministry of Truth and Democracy and anything, I'm not saying that I think that we're the bad guys. I think we're 100% on the right. But jokes aside, you're gonna learn a bunch of stuff and you're gonna think, wow, this game's actually really deep and I like it. Let's be honest, if you guys watch this channel enough, and if you guys are Brazilians and watched my other honest reviews on games like the Outlast Trials on that channel in Portuguese, you know that I fucking hate to read when I'm playing. I don't think you should read and play. I think that if I'm playing, I just want the information right in front of me. That's why I kind of like Dark Souls for the difficulty, but I don't give a fuck that much for the story. I played Dark Souls 1, I played Dark Souls 2 a lot of times, I played Dark Souls 3 a bunch of times as well. Fuck, I played Dark Souls 3 like 7 times if I'm not mistaken, or 6 or 7. Bloodborne, same thing, I never played Sekiro and Elden Ring, but I played every single Dark Souls game. Demon Souls I ditched because I was already playing Dark Souls 3 when I started playing Demon Souls, but anyway, that doesn't matter. What matters is that I really like the game. But I don't bother to understand the story because it's just too convoluted. You have to read a bunch of things and I'm not into reading things when I'm playing a game. Especially a game that is hard like Dark Souls. We're not talking about Dark Souls here, I'm just using it as an example, but Helldivers is basically the same thing. There are a lot of things going on, there's a bunch of creatures, you're just killing a lot of enemies and you're not worried about reading what happened in that specific location. At least I'm not. I just like to kill shit. So what I used to do is, while I'm playing the game, I read the notes very fast to see what's going on, but I wouldn't read for real. So I would take a screenshot and say, later I'll read it. But truth be told, I never read any of them because I was just too busy killing automatons on Malevolent Creek, which by the way was a very fun meme, but it got old and we just used it so much that nobody gave a shit anymore after a little while, so that's pretty sad. I can say there is a campaign mode because it's an ongoing game, and that's pretty dope. I'm gonna talk about this feeling that this game brings a little bit later, because since we don't have a campaign per se, and we also don't have multiplayer for real, like player versus player, not that I think it would be necessary in Helldivers, it's not the vibe of the game, but still, a thing that we do have, and it's pretty much the whole game, is co-op. And I think co-op is really fun. I really like games like that, not even like Helldivers. I really like co-op games. I think they're really good. One game that I really want to play is 6 Days in Fallujah, because it's kind of co-op. The missions are always generated randomly, so you don't know where the enemies are and what things are waiting for you lurking. That's why I like Ready or Not as well. And although I can play the same mission in Ready or Not thousands of times and do everything differently, I still think that with just those maps that we have, it's gonna be very boring soon. So I really hope they bring something new. But anyway, we're not talking about that game as well, just using it as a comparison. Helldivers has great co-op. It's really fun to play with your friends, even with random people sometimes. You play with some random dudes that are really fun, they're awesome, and if you like, you know that player for a little while. Sure, there are some players that are dicks, and sometimes you just hate them because they're idiots. They call for extraction without completing the objectives, and you kind of fuck up with your plans and with your deep roleplay of being a true Helldiver, a true Super Earth citizen. But that's normal in every game, basically. There's always an idiot. And co-op really does feel good, and you gotta give props to them. It's really nice to have your friends, you actually feel like you're at war with them sometimes. There are some scenes that are straight ripped from movies when your friends sacrifice themselves for the greater good of the cause, and although you fail to extract, you still accomplish the mission, and that feels really nice. So I really like the co-op. I really don't have anything to complain about, and it's just really nice. At first I thought the community was pretty much dead. It's not the same as before, but it was still pretty okay. I found some players very fast, and they were very chill. We weren't playing on the hardest difficulty like I would do before. I think that's something that kind of burned me out a little bit as well, because I was grinding the hardest difficulties, but then again, that's me coming from my perspective of the game. I've seen some people that are level 100 and something, and it kind of was insane for me to see that, because I never thought I would see someone that high level. Because when I stopped playing, people were getting to level 30, not 125, not 200. So it was basically very weird seeing those dudes that were extremely high level. One of my friends that doesn't even play anymore would make fun of us for playing on hard or extreme, but you know, I kind of don't want to do that, play on the hardest difficulty. I don't want to play on Helldive or Suicide Mission. I just want to play the game and have some fun. And do you guys remember when I mentioned that feeling that I was gonna talk about later? Was the actual feeling of saying, hey, I'm at war. You feel like, really feel like combat. You really feel war. If you fight on a planet by yourself, it's gonna be empty. The skies are not gonna have many ships. Sure, you might have one or two, but that's it. You're gonna play your mission and that's it. You're gonna see the planet afterwards, and it's not gonna have that much progress in domination, and it just feels kind of empty. But when you complete major orders that are basically the missions or the operations that we receive from the High Command, and if you're on Discord, you're gonna notice that it looks like you're at war. The High Command sends you your orders. You read them. You have the propaganda departments run by players sending you posters and things like that to boost morale. Players actually act if they were Helldivers commanding their own unit, so it's pretty dope. My friends weren't in the Helldivers Discord server, so I was basically their commander, and we would complete missions following the major orders, and it was really nice. When you capture a planet, the whole community would just freak out, and it was really good. You felt your presence there, you felt like you did your part. It's like that meme from Starship Troopers where they're all screaming, I'm doing my part!
I'm doing my part!
I'm doing my part! I'm doing my part!
And you actually feel like you were doing your part. You actually were doing something for the war effort against the Automatons or the Terminids, the bugs. So yeah, it felt really nice, and that's a feeling that I can't even fathom to have in other games. I know there are some games that have this, not a lot of them, but there are some that do that, and honestly, just to think that every time that a Helldiver fails their mission, their destroyer gets, well, destroyed. So yeah, their big ship, every single time you're playing Helldivers and you see a ship being destroyed, it's a mission failed. It means that a group of Helldivers was annihilated. And when we were in Malevolent Creek, and all ships were being destroyed because that planet was hard, not as hard as other planets were, it was just for the meme. We were capturing the planet and the planet was being recaptured. People called it Space Vietnam.
If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows.
And And we even have the argument on Discord calling players that were just diving in Malevolent Creek the Creekers. But it was just so fun. It was really fun to see that, and you actually felt like, holy shit, I'm a veteran of Malevolent Creek. And the community was basically very united. It always felt really good. It felt like you were at war with your fellow Helldivers. So that's an amazing feeling and an amazing accomplishment to the developers and the community as a whole. The community was, and still is, pretty good. Again, no complaints. One thing that really helps Helldivers are the stratagems. They basically give you an upper hand in combat. So you might have an airstrike, an orbital strike, you can get some weapons, call for vehicles like exosuits, and soon, the APC. There are a bunch of things. You can order turrets, so the autocannon turret, one of my favorites, sentry gun turret, deployable minefields, all things to fit your own playstyle. When I used to play against the Terminids, I would love to bring a flamethrower, because I felt like it was time to bring napalm to those heretics, like if it was Warhammer. So yeah, I used to think it was really good, and it was really nice that you could bring your own things. I still think actually that it's really good. You can actually fit your own playstyle with the things that are present in game, so it's really nice. You can call for help with an SOS beacon. There is this amazing hell bomb where it's basically a nuke. It's not like a nice ICBM nuke, it's a hell bomb. It's different, but it's basically a portable nuke that you just set on a big objective and just destroy everything in there. So the stratagems are really nice. It's a very cool mechanic. The fact that you have to hit the buttons to actually call the stratagems. It's not like, oh, press R2 and you get a stratagem, or R2 and square. You actually have to press Control on computer and WASD to actually hit the things on your pads, and your Helldiver calls that stratagem. So it's really nice. It's a very cool feature. The diving mechanic was also really cool. You could just run and dive to the ground. That sometimes would help you out a lot, but sometimes it would kill you landing close to an enemy. Basic shooter stuff as well. You have the healer, you have the guy that is more focused on being a heavy machine gunner, for example. So yeah, Helldivers has this freedom of letting you do basically whatever you want and finish the mission the way you and your friends want, and that's great. Although stealth is really hard and kinda impossible depending on the difficulty you play. Oh, and talking about diving, you can actually call reinforcements. Basically, when your friends die, you call reinforcements with stratagems, and you can use your friends to kill the enemy. You can send your friend as a big bullet from space to kill a Bile Titan that is basically a big bug, a big creature, and you just demolish them with your friends. So it's pretty good. You can use your friends as ammunition basically, and I think that's very cool. In Helldivers we have two types of enemies. We have the Automatons and the Terminids. The Automatons are basically the Terminator part when I mentioned to you guys at the start, and the Starship Troopers are basically the Terminids. They're the bugs. It's pretty fun. There were some cool memes like the Bile Titan that vomits on you. There's the Charger that is really fun as well, or funny. It's basically a big beetle creature that just rushes towards you and destroys you. And again, it was really funny seeing the memes where they would say, get Bile Titaned, and there was like this Bile Titan. But it was really funny. Then it was really nice to play the Automatons. You felt war, that they would fire back at you. It wasn't just a bunch of creatures rushing towards your direction. Of course, they have different types of enemies, and it's very cool. When we see a Hulk, it's a big beast of an enemy. You have to shoot a very specific weak spot. And many enemies in Helldivers have this weak spot where if you hit them there, it's an insta-kill, or it would be easier to kill them other than just shoot them to oblivion. And they even said they would release a new type of enemy. I don't remember their name. They were present in Helldivers 1, or at least it's gonna be very similar to the other type of enemies in Helldivers 1. But with all that, with all those things being released, announcing that we would have an APC, that we would have a bunch of other stuff, we get to our last point of this video, or at least one of them. The downfall of Helldivers, in my opinion, started with PlayStation. I was a huge Sony fanboy. I always thought the PS platform was really nice, so I've been a PlayStation fan since the dawn of mankind. I had a PS1, then I got a PS2, I have my PS3, and I still play on my PS4 from time to time. Fuck, I'm playing PlayStation 3, I'm playing Skate 3 on my PS3, I'm playing Black Ops Cold War. I've been playing a lot of Cold War actually, by the way. But anyway, the downfall was PlayStation. If you should have to blame someone, it's PlayStation. They removed the game basically from many regions of the world because they made it mandatory to have a PSN account. And by enforcing people to have a PSN account, by the way, PSN sucks ass in their security department. I've been hacked multiple times, my father lost a lot of money with PlayStation, and of course we cancelled our credit card after we got hacked. I have friends that were hacked, by the way, so yeah, PSN just sucks. And honestly, I'm thinking of buying a PS5 just because I already have some games for the PS5, thanks to retro compatibility, that makes any sense. Or the PS4 version that I got me the PS5 version as well, so... But if it wasn't for that, the Xbox sounds very tasty, because GTA 6, my boys. Anyway, Sony kind of fucked people up, and that made a lot of players stop playing it. Sure, the community just went bananas, that was such an idiotic thing. The community was very pissed, and with a lot of reason. PlayStation really fucked them up. So they went to Steam and downvoted the game and said the game was bad and they would not recommend it. And basically they got mostly negative reviews on Steam. And Helldivers went to Sony and said, hey, you guys are fucking us up. So Sony pulled that idea, and that was a massive victory to the Helldivers community, not having to sign up on PlayStation. I did that day one, you know, since I already have a PlayStation account, just fuck it, just do that shit. But I understand when many people say they're pissed because there is no way to create an account based on their location because it's banned in their country. And although they can lie, it's just a hassle to create an account if you don't even own a fucking PlayStation, just to play a game that you already paid good money for it. So that was their first mistake, and Helldivers kind of went down or started to begin his descent into failure. And since I mentioned money, I don't think it's a game that's worth its price anymore. What really saddens me because I enjoy it. I enjoyed it even more in the past. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed it. The problem is, before joining the game today, or when I decided to write this script to record this gameplay you guys are watching, it was a hassle. I thought to myself, here we are playing Helldivers again, for Christ's sake. You know, it was difficult for me to join in. I didn't even want to turn my PC and start playing it, but when I did, it felt good. It was fun. It wasn't a bad game to play. Oh, and before I go to the next point, this part's not written on any part of my script. It's gonna be more of an improv part. The game's very badly optimized, and I've been saying this from day one. Some people have the game going very fine on their computer, some people have a lot of problems. I'm one of them. The game for me, when I'm not recording, runs at 70 FPS. My PC is really good, but when I'm not recording, 70 FPS. If I decide to stream, 40 FPS. If I decide to record it, 50 FPS. If I decide to record and stream, 30 FPS. So yeah, it's kind of shit, you know. Since I'm used to my PlayStation, yeah, I can dig having the FPS kind of low, because PlayStation is not perfect, we all know that, and FPS sometimes would just drop out of the wazoo. But it's kind of bad on a PC that is kind of good to have the game playing on the recommended settings, by the way, the recommended settings, and still having lag and a lot of things like that. So it's kind of bad. It's not gonna lie, it's kind of bad. But anyway, and I'm just making this video because I read that 90% of Helldivers player base is gone. They're not coming back. And when I read that, I thought, well, the game was nice, it was fun to play, but it's just repetitive. I know that many games are repetitive. One could say that Call of Duty is very repetitive, and yeah, it is. You just run and shoot people. Yes, it is very repetitive. It's the same with many other games. It's the same with Left 4 Dead. It's repetitive. But the problem is that Helldivers fucked up in the past very bad. It wasn't their fault, specifically, it was Sony's fault, but still left a mark that many people didn't like. It left a grudge, and people don't like that. And honestly, for me, it's just the same thing. I played it for a while, and then after 5 missions, if we can get to 5 missions, more like 3, and then I'm yawning. But Jesus Christ, that's a curse. I wrote that on my script. I wrote exactly like this. By the way, as I'm writing this script, I'm yawning. And I just yawned reading because I just thought of how boring it is sometimes. And I'm not even joking. I wrote exactly this. Just fuck. I know that's the same thing over and over, and I can't bring myself to play Helldivers for hours. Actually, I can't play for hours and hours in many games, and Helldivers is 100% one of those games. Honestly, it's just kind of sad because it's not something that catches my attention for a long period of time. It's still really fun. I had tons of fun with my friends today, but it's a very, very repetitive game. I wouldn't change that point in my perspective. The game's fun, I can't complain about that. The fun level is there, but is it fun for a long period of time? For me, no. It is very replayable. I think we can replay things a lot, but overall, missions are the same. Jesus Christ, I'm yawning again. We don't have a big variety of missions to complete. It's more of the same over and over, but on different planets and things like that. There's a lot of things. The characters scream and it's insanity most of the times, but it's just the same thing. And then you die, and then someone revives you, and then you die again because it's too difficult. Then you play on hard and it's too easy. Then you up the difficulty again. I don't know, I think it has some cool features. The dynamic weather system is really nice. Sometimes it's daylight, sometimes it's nighttime. You actually feel like war, like I mentioned before. But I don't know. There's a repetitive cycle that just doesn't add up to the experience. At least not for me. Sometimes I just don't want to play anymore. It's really sad to say that because I really like Helldivers, but it is what it is. It's the truth. The game's repetitive. They add a bunch of stuff, but it still keeps the game on the same page. It's like if they were writing a story, but they're never putting a full stop and turning the page and starting something new. It's always the same thing. Now I was playing Helldivers to record it and actually have some gameplay, and I have some things that I had to change in this video, at least some of my opinions. Not that they changed drastically, but they changed, you know. One of the big changes is that I don't feel that the game is truly horrifically bad anymore. I actually think it's really fun. It's fun. I had tons of fun playing Helldivers with my friend. Although I like it, I still think it's not worth it to buy it now. Even if you have a full group of friends, it feels too repetitive now. It's something that I always felt, but it was fun to play with my friends. It was nice, but I still blame Sony for the loss of interest recently. This part, while I'm writing, was really difficult because it's hard to explain with words what I feel with the game. It's bad in a way that it doesn't add anything new in terms of gameplay and fun for me. Remember, this is my opinion. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm trying to say. I really hope you do. But for me, it's too repetitive. Maybe you're pissed playing Call of Duty. We're gonna chill out a little bit by playing this game. Just to say, that's it. Time to breathe a little bit. But you know, it's not something I would play for hours and hours. The grind of getting more bonds and things like that to level up the passes. But yeah. Overall, I think it's pretty good. If I was playing sitting down on my computer instead of using my controller, I think it would be much easier for me to play. But it's a new experience. Oh, and by the way, if you have a DualShock 4 controller, there's no official support. You have to download some configurations from Steam itself. It wasn't hard, but you know, kind of dumb in my opinion. Anyway, guys, tell me your opinions down below. If you guys think that Helldivers is still really good and really fun, just tell me. Remember, I'm not being a douchebag and saying the game is shit and horrible and never was fun and it has to burn in the 7th circle hell. I'm just telling you guys my opinion that I'm not having that much fun anymore with Helldivers. So if you think the game is really fun and you still like it, tell me down below in the comments and tell me why you think the game's good. I won't buy it. I won't ban you from my channel. I won't hire hitmen to kill you and murder your entire family and kick your dog. Don't worry. Tell me down below what you think, and let's keep things civil and fun. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you guys have enjoyed. If you asked yourself, do I recommend Helldivers like I said before? No, not right now. Wait for a very good deal, like a sale, and then maybe buy it if you have friends on sale. If you have a group of friends that want to play Helldivers, but it's not on sale, don't buy it. It's not worth it. Anyway, leave a like, comment down below if you guys didn't like the video, not in the way of not agreeing with me, like I said. If you disagree, tell me down below. But if you didn't like the video specifically, feel free to leave a dislike. Tell me down below what you guys didn't like as well, because, you know, otherwise I wouldn't know, or I won't know what I did wrong. And that's it. Thank you so much. Hope to see you guys in the next one. Sorry for the hiccups here and there. I'm not used to recording these types of video anymore, so yeah. But still, thank you so much. Hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.